We'll open up today's press conference with defense coordinator Jim Knowles at this time. Over here to the right, Adam King, WBNS.
Coach, what do you think you've seen change the most in your defense since that game back in October out in Eugene?
It's been a pretty good season. I mean, that game, we gave up a few plays that we shouldn't have. So, I don't know, I guess I'd just say a renewed intensity to, get lined up faster and, do your job. But I think it's been pretty strong throughout the year. We had a subpar game.
Over to the left, Dan Hope, 11 Warriors.
Jim, you mentioned that one game is really kind of an anomaly, at least statistically, when you look at what your defense has done this year. How much do you look at it as, we didn't do what we needed to do in this game, and how much of it is just Oregon's a really good offense?
Both. They're really good. They challenge you in a lot of ways. And we can be better, and we have to be better. But certainly they're a very good team, very good offense, and they challenge you.
Stefan Kreisnig, Cleveland.com.
You've talked since that game a few times about your confidence in Denzel, and the numbers back up the way he's played since that game. Where have you seen him kind of improve the most since then, or is it kind of that same way of that felt like more an anomaly, and what we've seen the rest of the way is kind of what you can expect from him?
Yeah, he's steady. He's a great player, great person. That job that he does, and he'll be doing it for many years. It's you're on an island, and there are times where you don't make the play. So, but I feel like his resolve has been the same, and our trust in him has always been the same. So, we all learn how to handle ourselves in times of adversity, and he's a guy that's always going to bounce back.
Pat Murphy, 24/7 Sports.
You were talking about Oregon's offense in that game, but as you've watched them since then, do you see differences? Do you see things that maybe you didn't see in that first game that will be maybe more relevant for this one?
Yeah, you're always going to see things. You can see how they attacked us and how they attacked other teams for the remainder of the season. So yeah, you're always going to pick up things. That's the job of a coach. But they've been pretty steady. They've been really good the entire year.
Tony Girdman, Buckeye Huddle.
Jim, is there any downside, or just, you've already played Oregon, and for a defensive coordinator, is there any part of that is a burden in already having played this team and they've seen what you've done, or is it all beneficial to have already played them?
It's all beneficial, and it's all a burden. You know what I mean? It's everything. That's just the life we live. Good luck in your chosen profession.
You played with Baylor twice in 2021. What did you learn from that? That applies to anything here.
Yeah, it's nothing that I recall exactly off the top of my head, but it's a constant learning process. I mean, if you're not learning as a coach or as a player, you're not growing. So it's just experience.
Kellyanne Stitz, WSYX.
Going back to Denzel Burke, you mentioned how his ability to bounce back. How have you seen him approach this week, particularly?
Same as always. Professional, resolved, competitive. Denzel's always been the same. He's always competing, and no matter who we're playing, he's trying to get better.
Jeremy Birmingham, the podcast.
Jim, I know the statistical output of that Oregon game in October is an anomaly for sure on the season, but it was sort of an inflection point, it seemed, at least from the outside looking in, on some structural things within the defense. How confident are you that it's fixed based on the fact that in the last 7 games, you really haven't played someone that would be equivalent to what Oregon can do offensively.
Yeah. I'm always confident that it's fixed, you know. And then, of course, you know, you always stay up at night concerned about other things, you know. So it's a process. Obviously, we have to go out there and do it. You know, it's every game day is a test. You know, it's a test. Every game day is a test. So no matter what is done previously, you know, you don't get any credit for that. You got to go out there and prove yourself.
Dylan Davis, Delaware Gazette.
Edric's a guy, obviously, who's playing more and more. What did you see from him when he arrived on campus that led you to believe he could play early on at this point? And what have you seen from him now compared to where he was when he did get on campus?
Yeah, he's got great strength and competitiveness. You know, he's one of those guys who comes in early and things don't seem too big for him. You know, a lot of guys need that transition time. He's a guy that, you know, he'll make mistakes, but he'll learn from them, and he really lets it roll off his back, and that's what you need in order to play early at this level. You got to keep your fire, you got to keep your intensity, and you got to know you're going to make mistakes, you know, and not let them get you down. I think that can hamper a lot of young guys early because you're going to make mistakes. But Edric is a guy who's got a great personality and great energy, and he just keeps going.
Dom Taveri, WBNS.
Jim, you have said that you have great confidence in your defense. What gives you the confidence? What's the room like? Do you see a edge with your guys?
Yeah, there's an edge. There's veterans. You know, I think that always gives you confidence when you have veterans. There's no panic. You know, if we give up a play or something negative happens, I mean, there's no panic. Guys know how to fix things. There's a lot of communication back and forth. You know, there's a lot of resolve to do whatever it takes to win the game. You know, no matter what happens during that game, our guys don't flinch.
Do you see that they want this rematch? I mean, obviously you got to beat them to win the national title to get to the next level, but is this a game you guys have been pointed to that you want and you hope?
I mean, you always hope for a second shot when you don't do well. I mean, that's life. You know, a lot of times you don't get them. So we have a chance to do better and be better. But in terms of the week-to-week process, I think, you know, when you have a team that's together with veteran leadership, the week-to-week process stays the same. You know, no matter who we're playing, the point has always been for us to be at our best, to get better from the week before, get better from earlier in the season, and keep improving.
Austin Ward, podcast.
Jim, we've seen, you know, games with JT at his best, wrecking opponents, Jack at the end of last year, but it feels like there haven't been many, if any, games where they were both as productive at the same time as they were last week. Is that a fair assessment? Would you agree with that? Can you think of anything else that was close from those two together?
Yeah, I mean, in my mind, they're both great players and great young men. I mean, you couldn't find better guys. So I probably don't see it kind of the way that you guys do, because I'm seeing every play and every block and, you know, run game and everything that goes into it. I know, you know, you guys or the fans tend to just see the highlights, you know, but they've been consistent throughout my tenure here.
Bill Rabinowitz, Columbus Dispatch.
The word that was used after the Oregon game was re-engineering for the defense. I'm not expecting you to divulge too many details, although I'd be happy if you did. What really did change structurally, maybe psychologically, whatever? What was the big difference after that game? And how hard was that for you, being a veteran coach and having to reassess the way you did that game?
Yeah, it wasn't hard at all. I think if you're going to survive in this profession and grow, not just survive but grow and get better, you always have to look at yourself. You have to, see things that happen on the field and go back to how did I coach that? How did I prepare for that? You have to take responsibility. So. Probably when I was younger, that was hard, because you take it personally. I think now my job is to not be emotional about it. My job is to fix it. That's my job. So you got to evaluate it, and you can't blame the players. I think that's the biggest thing. You have to go back to how you're coaching and your process. So, in terms of the changes, if I could write them all down for you, I would, but I wouldn't anyway. I wouldn't anyway do that. But I don't think I could. I think it's just a matter of seeing what's wrong, what happened, and fixing it. That's it.
Stephen Means, Cleveland.com.
I think the Oregon game is the only game Jermaine didn't play in. I don't know if you remember what went into that decision to just stick with Denzel and Davis and then the growth that you've seen from Jermaine that maybe allows you guys to think that he's maybe more ready to play in a game like this time.
Yeah, I don't recall what went into that, but I know Jermaine should play and we trust him. So, he's been getting in there more, and we consider him a starter. Kind of like Cody Simon was for the first 2 years I was here. He's that next guy, but we can put him in the game at any time, and we need to. And if anything happens, he could play the whole game.
All right, we're going to pause the live portion of this press conference and go to the World Wide Web. I think we have a question there from Joey Kaufman from the Columbus Dispatch. Joey?
I don't understand.
We're on a Zoom call as well, Coach. My bad.
It'll explain things to you.
Hi, Jim. I'm still live. Just remote.
Where are you?
Burbank, California. But hey, wanted to ask about Dylan Gabriel and his ability to avoid sacks is good, and his ability to kind of avoid pressures turning into sacks. What do you remember about that first match with him? It makes him tough in that area, and just how confident do you feel about your pass rush being able to get home in those situations now versus where it was in October?
He's really good at that, so whether it was our game or any game, you have to have a plan for that. And, we're going to have a plan for it. But, I think the fact of the matter is he's going to get out. He's going to try to make plays with his feet and then deliver the ball or scramble. So we have to be very aware of it in both the coverage and the rush.
We're going to stick with the Zoom call. We have an Andreas Soto. Andreas, you're up.
How you doing, Coach? I'm Andres Soto from the LA Times. JT has really been one of your anchors defensively along that D-line. What does he do that specifically that helps set the tone for you guys up front?
JT does everything. I mean, you couldn't ask for a better player in terms of the combination of skills that he has, both in the run game, the pass game, and in making outstanding plays. So he does it all, and he does it with a very consistent demeanor and leadership skills, and everybody looks up to him, including me. He's just an all-around great player and a great person.
We'll go now to Cameron Teague Robinson from The Athletic. Cameron?
Hey, Jim, I know Oregon's offense is a little different than some of the ones that you guys have played this year, but I mean, both Indiana and Tennessee this year have been pretty explosive in the pass game, and you guys were able to slow them down. You haven't given up a lot of explosives since that game. What do you think's changed for you all, or is it just a mix of pressures and everything kind of working at once?
Yeah, it's all in the mix. You know, you got to apply the mix, and we talk about explosive plays all the time. So I think maybe when you get burned by some, it becomes real, even more real for you. So, there's just been a continued emphasis on it.
Okay, we'll come back to the team meeting room. Spencer Holbrook, Letterman Row.
Yeah, Jim, I think Kenyatta played the most snaps he's ever played against a ranked team, and that probably has to do with some of the second half stuff that he did. But what have you guys seen in him, his growth, that made you guys, want to have him on the field in some critical moments there of that Tennessee game?
He's really talented young man, and he's moved himself into that position through his work ethic and things he's shown us in practice and in games. He's moved himself into that area where he could be a starter, and he's earned it.
There's no such thing as a good penalty at all, but obviously the one that he had on Saturday, questionable, I guess. What do you appreciate that almost, even though he gets called for it, that he's being aggressive and he makes that kind of mistake rather than being like a timid guy in that kind of atmosphere?
Yeah, I mean, he didn't do anything wrong. He didn't do anything wrong. So yeah, we highlight his effort. I mean, that's a really tough call, because you're into the quarterback, so it's one of those things that's like, okay, I'm into the quarterback. If he pulled the ball down and I landed on him, that wouldn't be a penalty, would it? You know what I mean? So if I'm here okay, well, pull it down, sack. They're not going to call it. That's not a penalty. But release the ball and then it's a penalty, So it wasn't late, it wasn't dirty, it was clean in my eyes. And so we highlight it for sure.
Got time for a couple more. Tim May, Letterman Row.
Yeah, by the way, I think it's ACC officials again. That's what Spence told me anyway. I call them three safeties. Jordan Hancock, I count in that group. I've talked about this a little bit before, but going into this game compared to that sixth game, how much more do you feel free to do things with those guys? You understand what I'm saying? I mean, those three guys, Caleb and Latham especially. And I guess what was the lesson learned in safety use in that first game?
I can't give away all of that. But you're right. You're right. We've grown Jordan a little bit, right? Yeah. So we're able to do more things. So I think you're right. We're able to do more things.
And who of those guys has really come on in the last 6 games, from your opinion, Jim? Were they all three playing at a great level? I mean,
yeah, they've been solid. They've really been solid. I mean, I can't. I think they've all been great.
And final question, Bill Landis, Kings of the North.
Jim, to the point of developing Jordan to do more things, it does seem like you're able to do a little more kind of 3-high structures where Caleb is in the middle and sometimes even looks like he's playing middle linebacker. What is it about Caleb's skill set, I guess, that allows you to perhaps unlock some more with your safeties?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I know you guys really watch the film and analyze it, so yeah. Yeah, I mean, when you have a guy like Caleb Downs, a lot of times you don't want to get him removed from a position to make plays, right? Because Caleb is a guy who can track the run and play the pass. So in that kind of setup, you kind of keep him closer to the action, and he's a guy that we need to make plays, and he can in the run and the pass game.
I guess what got you to the point where you sort of evolved to doing more of that? this year? I don't know that we saw a whole lot of the first half of the season.
Yeah. You know, again, looking at how we can do things better. You know, I've done it in the past, you know, so just wanting to get him involved more too. You know, he's a guy, like I said, who can make a lot of plays and make a lot of things right. He can make a lot of people right. So you think about how to get him involved more, and that's one of the ways to do it.
Coach, thank you very much.
Thanks, Jim.
All right, folks, we're going to continue on with, actually, I didn't read it. With our Friday interviews, we have defensive end JT Tuimoloau. We'll open things up, JT, with Stephen Means, Cleveland.com.
I know it was just one snap, but when you are lined up at defensive tackle and then you hop back and eventually a QB spy on a play like that, first of all, when that's presented to you in practice, what are you thinking about? And also, what about your skill set? Your athleticism allows you to be able to do some stuff like that, essentially like jack stuff.
Yeah, you know, when that first was brought up, I was just thanking the coaches for trusting me with that. Quarterback spy is not an easy role, and I mean, it was fun, and I gave credit to Cody and them because I was like, man, first time open field tackling, that's a different world, you know, from playing defensive end and going to that job. But I think it speaks volume how the coaches think of my athletic ability, and I just continue to trust them with whatever they bring to the table.
Stefan Kreisny, Cleveland.com.
Coach Day has talked about, you know, the best players need to step up in the biggest games. This stretch of Indiana, Michigan, Tennessee, and now going into Oregon, you and Jack have been probably playing your best football this season, I guess. How much do you guys communicate about that, about, you know, really needing to step up when these games kind of heighten, and how much, as a veteran, do you kind of understand that?
Yeah, I mean, it's nonstop with the communication on that part. I think we also understand that it takes everybody. It takes everybody in this woody to get the things that we need to get done. That's on our list of goals that we want to accomplish. But we just understand that if we just continue to do our job and just continue to just trust one another and just play as fast as we can, as hard as we can, then I think everything will just fall right in line.
Dan Hope, 11 Warriors.
JT, you guys didn't get any sacks the first time against Oregon. What do you look at as you need to do better the second time around to make that happen?
Yeah, I think we just got to play as a collective four and just understand that, you know, their offense is an explosive offense. They're a talented offense. We understand that we need to clean things up from the first game, from the first time we met. And I think that's what we're doing leading up to this game, you know, taking it one day at a time and just continue to find those areas of attacking and just staying within the wheelhouse.
Dylan's obviously a really elusive guy. What makes him so tough to play against?
He's very wise. I mean, he's been in the game and he knows what to do. He's a very talented quarterback, a left-handed quarterback, and he's very smart. He doesn't really take too many chances. He knows what he wants to do, and he goes through his reads really well. So that's a very talented quarterback, and you know he's having a very talented year.
Austin Ward, the podcast.
JT, when you, I don't know, think back to those 2 weeks, you had the off week after Oregon the first time around, and off a game where you guys didn't get pressures, didn't get sacks. What was the process like to address that? How different has the defense felt for you guys in that front four since then? Like you mentioned the quarterback spy stuff. We've seen other games and twists. Like it seems from the outside like it was pretty extensive, some of the changes that were made. What was it like in that room for those 2 weeks as you guys sort of changed over maybe some philosophies?
Yeah, I think it's just keep everything simple, trusting the guys, and you know I think we have so much trust in the coaches that they're gonna make the right the changes for us to be in the best position possible, and I think they did just that. And I think for us, we just had to go out there and just accomplish the plan, and whatever play was called, whatever it may be, just go out there and execute it. One thing we've been preaching is execution is really the motive. You know, anything we called, but as long as everybody's mindset has one mentality, which is just go get it and you know make sure there's no yard gain. I think that changes the mindset of everybody on the Silver Bullet defense.
Did they feel like big changes to you all as they were ongoing, or
I mean, at first, like, you know, it was a tough loss. So, you know, I think it felt like everything was big. But then when you kind of just take your time and look at everything and analyze everything, it was just like, man, we just need to keep everything simple, make everything just about us, and you know, not like feel like we're, you know, making everything about them. It's, you know, we can dictate what they do, and I think that was the mindset.
Tim May, Letterman Row.
Yeah, JT, I know you get to watch a little bit of video of Caleb and Lathan and Jordan. What stands out about that group from your vantage point, from your perspective?
They're relentless, man. I mean, Lathan, Caleb, and I mean everybody in that BIA core. Yes, they can cover, but you know, when it's time to, you know, stop the run, they'll come down 12 yards out, however far off the front line of scrimmage, and come and, you know, throw their nose in there. And you know, I respect them for that, because you know, there's gonna be times where we need them to make them tackles, and I mean, they're displaying it this whole season.
Yeah, how critical are they in a game of this magnitude? Obviously, everybody's critical, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sort of the last line of defense, but sometimes the last line of defense is in the middle of it.
Yeah, I mean, they play a huge role. I mean, like you said, it takes everybody from the front four. It's like a chain reaction. The front four don't do their job, then, you know, it falls, you know, the back end. So we all have to work as a collective unit. And I think there's a reason that there's 11 of us out there. And, you know, it's crazy. If one person is doing their job, then, you know, something can go wrong. But if we just all continue to stay communication with one another, continue to just let each other know we have each other's backs and just trust one another, then, man, I think that performance is going to be off the charts.
Over to the right, Kellyanne Stitz, WSYX.
JT, how would you describe the mentality of the defense right now, getting this opportunity for a rematch with Oregon?
Yeah, hungry and thankful. I mean, we know how the last time went. You know, we had a chip on our shoulder. I mean, we were riding high before that game, and we took that loss, and we came back, had to make a couple changes. But I think we understand what, you know, everything's at stake right now. You know, just fighting to wear another Ohio State jersey for the next game, that's what's on stake, and just to be able to represent this state and this team. I mean, we understand what's on the line, and you know, we're just hungry and blessed that we get this opportunity to play in the Rose Bowl.
Right behind her, Adam King, WBNS.
What do you remember most about walking off the field in Eugene? What was kind of going through your mind in that moment?
I mean, there was I don't think anybody imagined us losing. You know, I didn't, that's for sure. And I think after that, it was kind of hit deep, understanding that, man, there's still a lot of ball left to be played. I mean, you can let it sting for a little bit, but, you know, if you let it carry over too long, then, you know, there goes your whole season. But I think we did a great job of just understanding, coming together in this room right here, not being afraid to display or hold accountability for one another. And, you know, as that happened, we came back, regrouped, and, you know, we're just going right now. And I'm just blessed for those specific moments, you know, losing. I mean, no one wants to lose, but the testimonies and the things you're taught within those little situations speaks volume.
Spencer Holbrook, Letterman Row.
JT, what have you seen from Kenyatta the last couple of weeks? Was there like a push from him? Have there been any conversations with him? Because it seemed like he was playing some of his best football in Tennessee.
Yeah, I mean, that's my boy. He's in the R2X club too. But, you know, Kenyatta, I mean, every time his number's called, he goes out there and makes the most of it. You know, no matter where we at in the game, when he goes out there, he's just hungry. He wants to go make plays, and you know, we see it in practice, so it's not surprising to us.
Bill Rabinowitz, Columbus Dispatch.
Dylan Gabriel's obviously very elusive, very talented. He's not very tall. How important could it be to just kind of stay in your pass rush lanes and deflect a lot of balls and kind of make a difference that way?
Yeah, I think it just comes on being disciplined, knowing who you're playing against. Like you said, Dylan, he's short, but he's very elusive. I mean, he is making throws. I mean, he can get out the pocket. He can do everything. So I think for us, we just got to stay disciplined and just continue to just meet with Coach Jay, meet with Coach Knowles, and understand how we can just eliminate that.
One question about you and Jack. I mean, your personality seemed to be a little different. You're more on the quiet side. He's not.
Yeah.
I mean, you've played together 4 years, both five-star guys. Kind of describe your relationship with him, friendship with him, and just kind of how you complement each other.
Man, that's my brother. Like you said, we're different but very alike. I think outside, like you said, he's louder, I'm quiet. But you know, once we're on that field, we're like the same person. We'll do anything for this team. You know, we'll die for our players, and we'll give everything we got.
roomed together for 4 years, correct?
Yeah, fall camps.
Every road trip?
Yeah, sometimes I go over there, sleep over there. So yeah.
Who's the neat one? Who's the messy one?
We have our share of days when I'm neat, he's neat, or we might both be messy, but we do a good job. Yeah, I'd probably say I'm a better cook than Jack though.
Tony Girdman, Buckeye Huddle.
When you're playing a team for the second time, and that was almost a season ago by now,
Yeah.
how much are you at square one with this scouting and preparation, or how much do you take from that game, and how much do you avoid taking so that you don't have any preconceived notions of what you're going up against on the offensive line?
I say it's pretty 50-50. I mean, that game, like you said, it was a while ago, but at the same time, they elevated as a team, and so did we. So we understand that they made some changes for sure. There's certain tendencies we can take back from that game, but we also understand that they went on a little run after that, and we can see that they elevated as an offense. So we just got to continue to watch those games, dissect the other games, and just continue to see what stands out and what they changed from the past game.
We got a couple calls on Zoom that we'll wrap up with. First, we have Nick Hamilton from Nightcast Media. Nick?
Just wanted to ask you basically about the synergy of this defense and how you guys were able to not only celebrate the triumphs, but get through the adversity, be able to be this top-notch defense that you are in college football today.
Can you repeat the question one more time?
Yeah, no problem. I wanted to ask you about the synergy you all were able to develop over the course of the season, obviously celebrating the triumphs, but also getting through the adversities to where you all are the top-notch defense that you all are today.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, we went through a lot of triumphs and trials, but there's a lot of things we can take away from all the wins and losses. And from those wins, we understood that, hey, we can be the best defense in the country. And from those losses, we understand that there's still things that need to be fixed. And I think when you take all that in at once, it comes down to the common goal or the common topic, which is there's always learning points everywhere. And depending how we dissect those games or how we just continue to come as one and elevate, we continue to just collect all those learning points and just continue to grow from them.
And one final question, Joey Kaufman, Columbus Dispatch. Joey?
JT, what have you guys done better especially in the Tennessee game and just late in the season? You think about turning some of the pressures that you've got on the quarterbacks into sacks and getting home in some of those situations?
Yeah, I think it was more just understanding the defense as a whole, understanding everybody's job. I think as the season went on, we had to understand that we have to know what's going on in the back end. We have to know what's going on with the linebacker crew to understand what plays we have room of freedom in. And I think once we understood that and got a better understanding of everybody's job, I mean, it showed display because everybody knows what each other's doing. It's not like the linebackers know what they're doing. And the corners and BI, they know only their job. I think we all know each other's job, and we continue to ask each other questions on, if they're blitzing, how they can get to the quarterback. And, if I'm dropping and playing quarterback spot, I can ask Cody on how to open field tackle. So, we just kind of lean on each other's understanding because, like I said, like Denzel knows how to play corner better than I know how to play corner. So, he has more wisdom at that position than I do.
JT, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, man. That's right across from the barber shop. All right, we're going to bring in Cody Simon now. Cody? Thank you again, JT. All good? Yes. All right, we'll open up the floor for questions for Cody Simon. Over to the left, Andy Anders, 11 Warriors.
You were one of, some of Tennessee's best offense on Saturday. What little they got against you guys came on some of Nico Iamaleau's scrambles. You were one of the guys that seemed to actually be able to consistently get him down in the open field. What goes into being a good open field tackler?
I think it's definitely tough when tackling quarterback is a lot different than running back in my eyes, and sometimes you really have to put him in that same mold. And I think I was able to just he's good with his head fakes. He's good with a lot of little stuff, and a lot of quarterbacks you play are like that. So I mean, it's really just trying to stay down and stay square. And I was able to make a couple plays, so that was good.
Pat Murphy, 24/7 Sports.
Cody, that first game,
Gabriel obviously was able to elude a lot of what you guys did. How do you feel like that has changed, and how do you feel like he still is a challenge, even with some of the pressure you guys have gotten?
Yeah, I mean, he's a really smart quarterback, really experienced player. So he's able to move around the pocket really well. So it's going to be our job to really give him different looks and really give him a tough time in the pocket. And we can't make him comfortable. We can't allow him to sit back and just pick apart our defense. So it's going to be our job to make it complicated for him, and we have a good plan together. So we're excited to really see what happens.
Do you think having seen that live once already helps as opposed to just watching it on film?
Oh, definitely. I mean, you can. It's easier to correct your mistakes than correct other teams you're watching on film. So we know what we can do to be better, and we're just gonna have to go and implement that and make sure we execute.
Fourth row right, Andrew Gillis, Cleveland.com.
Cody, Terrence Ferguson is obviously a pretty big part of their offense. I think he had 4 catches against you guys last time, but there were some big plays, including that 4-time conversion. What challenge does he provide, especially when you have an offense that is as talented as they are on the outside, and you have a guy like that up the tight end?
Yeah, no, he's a big frame, big tall player, and he's a good player. I mean, we have to, really, it's about following our rules. We have different things that we can play against them and different coverages, and so we're going to be try to change things up and really be able to focus on all their skill players and all their talented. They have talented offense. So, for us, it's just going to be matching up well and doing what we do best.
Stefan Kreisny, Cleveland.com.
Seems like Jack and JT have really hit a stride in their game the last few times out. How much does that help the defense with those two guys who are playing at the level that they have been this past month or so?
Yeah, it makes it so much easier. I mean, those guys, they're some of the best in the country. So we can let them go and play free and play aggressive. I mean, it helps the defense in so many ways. And so we're thankful to have those guys because they really create a lot for our defense, and we need that same type of play from them from now on. And I'm really confident in them because they put in the work, they do all the hard work to get to that point. So I'm confident in them.
Austin Ward, the podcast.
Cody, was that the first helmet you've ever cracked?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I didn't even know at the time it was cracked. I wish I brought my feet more in that play, but it was pretty cool. I mean, I've never really seen that happen before, so except for Mahomes, I think.
Yeah. Did you guys have any sense after that? It was such a physical hit. It was also a key tackle to get off the field. Did you think that sent any message both for the rest of you guys on the defensive side or to Tennessee about what that game was going to be like?
Yeah, I mean, we knew how important stops were in that game, and more so than the hit, just to be able to get off the field. I think that was a huge part for us because we know if they can drive the ball and create big plays, it'd be a tough and long day for us on defense. So, I'm happy that we got those stops that we needed to get, and that was one of them. And all those stops really propelled us to have a good game on defense.
Bill Rabinowitz, Columbus Dispatch.
Cody, what changed the most after the Oregon game and the re-engineering of the defense? Was it mindset? Was it a schematic thing? What changed the most?
I'd say the most prominent change is really just that attitude and that mindset. I mean, we knew we played good before that, and we'd done a lot of things, but sometimes you need a little like juice and a little bit of that. So obviously stuff has changed, scheme has changed, stuff is like attitude has changed, but I think we have that mentality that we have to be able to win games no matter what on defense, and to be able to do that. I mean, we say it all the time in our meetings. Like it doesn't matter what the offense does, we should go out there and be able to win a game. So I think we brought back that mentality, and it has to keep going. It can't just stop at Tennessee. It has to keep going to Oregon.
You played so well before that, and then that kind of came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Was it how much of a rude awakening was it? How much did it make you realize, okay, we're not there yet?
Yeah, no, we had that was a rough 2 weeks for us after that game, where we had to really. We had a lot of tough conversations. We had a lot of overhaul and just, really looking inwards at ourselves and what do we have to change. And, I think what we've done so far has been pretty well, and we have to keep that going because it doesn't matter. It's really what you've done lately. So we have to do that for this next week.
Stephen Means, Cleveland.com.
If you were a coach, how would you grade JT Snap as a linebacker against Tennessee?
Snap as a linebacker? No, I mean, I give a lot of credit to Nico as a quarterback. I mean, he did his thing, moving around the pocket. It's not easy trying to. Oh, you said JT as a linebacker, or for me, how I would.
Yeah, how would you grade it
As a
one
linebacker?
snap?
I mean, some tough plays. I mean, that's football though. Sometimes guys get juked, whatever happens. But he always keeps coming. That's the best part about JT. Like he'll never stop playing as hard as possible. So I'm happy he kept going, and he made a lot more plays after that too. So.
You said that it's very different tackling a running back than a quarterback. Just in what's the main difference between trying to tackle those two types of players in open field?
What I've noticed is, when quarterbacks are scrambling and they're particularly like good scramble threats, they use that ball fake a lot more, and no matter what, even if they're past the line, it's still threatening. Like it's just the mentality, like the playing defense. You're always worried about them throwing the ball, so they have a little bit more wiggle. Whereas running backs, there's a certain amount of juke moves that they could use or whatever moves they use. So, I think a lot of the things that we do is just trying to just treat quarterbacks who scramble like running backs. Just try to stay down because your presence affects it no matter what. So if you're jumping for throws, you're probably gonna be wrong.
All right, we have time for a couple more. I think we just have one. If someone else wants to jump in, but we got Tim May, Letterman Row.
I was trying to hold my hand up. Cody, what has your interaction been like with Caleb and Lathan, especially from standpoint of feedback? Maybe between plays, maybe on the sidelines after series and stuff. Has it grown as the season has gone, and what do those guys especially bring to the table in that regard?
Seeing
the picture,
they've always been really great problem solvers throughout this entire year. Our communication is strong in between drives and everything. I think they do a wonderful job, both of them, just diagnosing what's going on, and then if we need to fix, they're always on top of this stuff. Our coaches are great at that too. They make sure that any little issue is being taken care of, and we communicate within the positions. But they're really good at that stuff.
And one other thing with you, I'm just being honest. I thought from like the late in the fourth quarter on against Nebraska, and then since then, you seem to have been a different player. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know if there was an epiphany there or whatever, but can you describe your drive or whatever from, that was a close game that was, I think surprised a lot of people. You understand what I'm saying? But you seem to be you personally seem to be a more driven, different player. Am I wrong about that?
Well, I feel like I've been taking, the meetings to the field, to practice, everything. I want to say I've been consistent, and I'm just being able to be in position to make more plays, and I'm thankful for that. But we're just really just we're just trying to be consistent and doing what day in, day out, not taking any day for granted, and not doing anything that I wouldn't do if I wasn't playing well. So. Yeah.
Or is that a hailstorm, Keith?
Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on.
Okay. All right, we're back. Final questions. Dan Hope, 11 Warriors.
Cody, when you guys look at that Oregon game, obviously, statistically really an anomaly for this defense this year. How much do you look at it as we had an off night, and how much do you look at it as they're a really good offense that's capable of exposing flaws that maybe other teams can't?
No, I think it's a little bit of both. We definitely did not play to our standard no matter what. That's number one. But they also played a good game, and we're both good teams. That's why we're in the Rose Bowl next, playing against each other. So, it's going to be on us to be able to execute and do our job to the best of our ability. And, that's what we're spending all this time practicing for. We're doing walkthroughs, everything, because, we need to, when we get to that moment, we got to do it right. And it didn't get done last game. So for whatever reason, we'll get those fixed, and we'll make the changes necessary and go out there and get a win.
Great. Cody, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Great, thank you. All right, folks, up next, we will have Jordan Hancock. Thanks, Jordan. All right, we'll open the floor up for questions for Jordan. Second row right, Bill Landis, Kings of the North.
Jordan, second half of the season, I guess, kind of since the Nebraska game, when I know Lathan didn't play, you seem to have played more kind of deep, free safety, deep half kind of stuff. What's allowed you to kind of add that to your game, and how comfortable do you feel now playing in those positions?
Just that's Coach Walt, Coach Knowles, Coach G really helping me, meeting with him all the time. Just the preparation I put in, and the film study, and just me being a natural athlete, just make the switch very smooth, and we can do a lot more defense, a lot of more adjustments with me being high, being low. So it just brings a lot of flexibility to the defense.
Fourth row right, Andrew Gillis, Cleveland.com.
Jordan, obviously Oregon can be pretty explosive, but they also run a lot of RPOs. What's the challenge in wanting to respect what they do in and at the line of scrimmage, but also not wanting to get caught flat-footed where they can go over the top?
Yeah, that's a good point. I think they're good both ways, but we do have to challenge those receivers. We can't let them run free. They're very talented over there, so we got to go out there, trust our skills, trust our technique, and see what happens.
Well, front row here, Tim May, Letterman row.
Yeah, Jordan, how much is y'all's communication, you, Caleb, and Lathan, grown through, especially the last half of the season? Especially the way they've been using you, in that almost that safety role of stuff. How much has it grown that you can put your finger on?
Yeah, it's grown immensely. I mean, Caleb, he makes a lot of checks. Lathan makes a lot of checks. I listen to them. Whatever they need. If I need to cover somebody, I'll go cover anybody. If they need me to do run support, I'll do run support. And it's really what Caleb does, what we do, and Lathan. It just goes back to Coach G's preparation and everyone's preparation to give us more flexibility. And it doesn't matter who's in those positions, and we can all play every position, whether it's covering somebody or running and tackling.
Yeah. Did you feel like that was the case before the Oregon game? You understand what I'm saying? I mean, is that
Yeah.
something that's been added? It just y'all rely on it a little bit more? Go ahead.
Yeah, it did. After probably the Nebraska game, me getting more safety reps, and we had a bye week to prepare, so I really learned the playbook a lot more. Even though I knew the playbook, I learned it a lot more, in depth. So really just after the Oregon game, it helped me a lot to go back to safety, go to nickel, and everywhere.
Dan Hope, Lebanon Warriors.
Jordan, you guys had a lot of issues of giving up big plays in the passing game in the first game against Oregon. What do you feel like you guys need to do better this time around to make sure that doesn't happen?
Just the same mindset. We got to challenge these receivers. Every dog has their day. Maybe some people didn't have their day that game, but we'll look out there and hopefully change the narrative. And we still play with the same confidence, same technique, and yeah.
Bill Rabinowitz, Columbus Dispatch.
Yeah, Denzel obviously had a tough game in that one. What have you seen from him and how he's responded? Do you get a sense from him how pumped he is for this rematch?
Oh yeah, he's super stoked for this rematch. His preparation has been very good. He's always been preparing, even though it didn't go the way he wanted to go that game. But he just always had his confidence, and we're going to see a big game out of him this week.
And, I know you guys wanted to play them in Indianapolis, but the fact that you get to play them at the Rose Bowl, you get a second chance. And people have said you don't get that very often. How determined are you guys to take advantage of it?
We're super, super determined. We watch film. We've watched a lot of film the first time we played them. Now we've got another 6 games that they played of film to watch. And it's just, they've grown a lot as a team, same as us. We've grown a lot. We're not the same team we were when we played them week 1 or week 6 or whatever. But now we're out there and going to play fast, physical, and everything like that.
All right, Jordan, we're going to jump to a Zoom question here from Joey Kaufman, Columbus Dispatch. Oh, my bad. Not you, Joey. Cameron T. Robinson, The Athletic.
Hey, Jordan, you've moved around a lot in the secondary in your career, and now kind of getting many more safety reps. What is it like at this point when Walt or Coach Knowles comes to you and asks you to do something else, and just how much can you lean on the experiences you've had moving around when you're trying to learn something new in the middle of the season?
It means a lot. We always talk about in this defense being unselfish, whether that's making plays or not making plays, or doing your job so another person can make plays. That's kind of what we pride ourselves on. And it's just fun, me moving around different positions. I'm always up for a new challenge, and a lot of people in the country can't do that. I just hold myself to that standard where I can play any position and excel at it.
Okay, if anybody else needs a question, let me know, but otherwise we're going to go to Austin Moore of the podcast.
Jordan, when you were talking about watching film of Oregon, which one do you think is more valuable to you, watching it against yourself, 7 games ago, even if you've changed, or the ensuing 6 games for Oregon? Which one do you put more stock in?
Kind of both. For me, I kind of watch what I did, things I did well, things I didn't do too well against them, and their team has changed. Like their scheme has changed. Some players have been out those stretch of games, so I really watched the past game we played, and I know they're going to go back to some of the stuff that they liked, of course, And different games like Penn State, maybe Illinois, they run a lot of man. So just watching stuff like that. Every game matters. So, yeah.
Jordan, thank you very much.
Thank you all.
Thanks, man.
Thanks, Jordan.
Okay, we'll finish up today's press conferences with Ty Hamilton. Thanks, Ty.
Yes, sir.
All right, we will open up the floor. Third row left, Andy Anders, 11 Warriors.
Can you speak to the importance of collapsing the pocket and maintaining rush lanes at the same time, and what that balance will be like against a quarterback with the escapability of Dylan Gabriel?
I think it's extremely important. You know, I mean, a lot of quarterbacks and nowadays are very mobile quarterbacks. So I think it's very important to be able to rush us forward. I mean, that's what we preach all the time: be able to rush us forward, rush together. Because you know, if we can collapse the pocket and make it harder for him to be able to escape, he really has to make his reads. He has to sit back and throw the ball, and then that's what we want him to do. We want him to be able to make it pressure when he throws the ball every single time. So being able to cage the pocket and collapse the pocket while he's throwing the ball makes it easier for us to make sacks.
Right next door, Dan Hope, 11 Warriors.
Ty, just when you look at that first game not getting any sacks, what do you feel like you guys didn't do well enough as a pass rush that first game, and how can you improve on that this time?
I think it all comes down to technique. I mean, we knew what we wanted to do getting in the game, and we didn't get it done. So I think going into this game, we have to just hone on the smaller things that can help us win against offensive linemen. So being able to go whether that's getting past them or making a certain move to get past them, we know we have to do. So we just have to really hone in on our technique and really do it at that time or that moment. And as I said before, just rushing us forward and going together, I mean, it makes it easier to get a sack.
Front row right, Austin Ward, the podcast.
Ty, when you think back to that first meeting and then having 2 weeks to look at, dissect what happened, try and correct it, how different does the way you guys rush the passer feel now compared to whether that's scheme, whether that's mentality, whatever, working with four? How many changes were made? Did it feel significant to you all in the moment as you were trying to get it fixed?
Yeah, I think Knowles did a good job just helping us, allowing us to, when it's time to go, it's time to go. I mean, he allows the defensive ends to be able to go after the quarterback when they have a chance. In certain plays, we get to do that, and then allowing certain guys and certain blitzes to really mess up what the quarterback is thinking. So it allows us to have more pressure and be able to allow us to do more moves at the time, because it makes the offense confused at what we're doing. So by allowing putting blitzes in there really mixes up the pass rush for us and allows us to get sacks.
Tim May, Letterman Row.
Yeah, with that said, like, for example, last Saturday night against Tuimoloau, I said it right, I think. But he was quite elusive and stuff. Was that a good, prep for this week? I mean, because Dylan Gabriel's a little bit different scrambler, but he still gets the job done.
Yeah, that was definitely good to have, because like I said, I mean, all the quarterbacks are very mobile, and being able to have more experience versus mobile quarterbacks helps us, obviously, being able to just help us hone and learn from what we had and had them going through the hole and had them scrambles, what we can learn from those scrambles. And we going from that game and the past game we played against Oregon, just learning the quarterback's tendencies and when they like to run or where they like to run, and it really helps us out, really closing the cage and caging the pocket for them.
Is there a fine line between being aggressive but also being wary? This guy can slip away. You understand what I'm saying, Ty? I mean,
yeah.
You can't just go right at. I mean, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, he's definitely a quarterback and then get outside the pocket. So I mean, he's definitely a threat. He's the main guy in the offense. He runs the show. So I mean, being able to stop him and contain him really slows the offense down. So being able to cage the pocket and be able to slow him down and make him make more decisions on the run or moving around, it really helps us.
Go ahead. Did you have one more, Tim? I'm sorry.
Well, no, I did want to ask about their center. How impressed were you with him last time you guys played? He seems to have a pretty good game, and he's kind of actually kind of a tough guy to move out of there and stuff.
Yeah.
He looks like. I mean, what's your impression of him?
He's definitely one of the better centers in the conference. I mean, he's a really good guy. I mean, being able to be in there, be the size and be able to move the way he can is really hard to get around him at times. But it's definitely having a game plan and working against and working the tendencies that he has and be able to work against that. It really helps me.
He's a wide dude. Yeah. Fifth row middle, Stephen Leonard, college football dogs.
Yeah, and kind of piggybacking on that, how much of it was their offensive line being the strength of their team versus Dylan Gabriel being able to escape and the lack of pressures that we had on our defense?
Yeah, I mean, when you got a good offensive line, I mean, it makes it even better for a quarterback, being able to roll out to know that your lineman's going to help you protect you when you're in the pocket. So, I mean, it makes it easier for throws, and it makes it harder for us, honestly, for having a good offensive line. So, I mean, like I said before, just being able to attack that offensive line, attack their weaknesses, and be able to go after them and make it harder for the quarterback makes it harder for them overall.
Fourth row right, Andrew Gillis, Cleveland.com.
What's the challenge, similar to Tim's question, in when you play a team like this that runs the level of RPOs that they do, that runs the results they do? How do you stay true and be aggressive and force the issue where Dylan Gabriel's really good at making those reads?
Yeah, like I said, just putting pressure on them. I mean, just be able to get back there. I mean, we got a lot of different plays that can help us get back there faster and playing to their tendencies. A lot of times they have the RPO. The RPO helps them out. It means to get the ball out fast. I mean, things like Jackson and JT being able to get their hands up, knock the ball down, creates a extreme amount of pressure for the quarterback when you got hands in your face all times.
And final questions, Bill Rabinowitz, Columbus Dispatch.
We've asked about Dylan Gabriel and the receivers. They're not one-dimensional. They have a real good running back in Jordan James. What makes him special, and what's the challenge for you guys?
I think he's definitely one of the better running backs in the conference as well. I mean, just how hard he runs it's hard to bring him down at times. So, I mean, as a front four, we pride stopping the run. That's the first thing we're going to do as we go on in the game. I mean, pass rushing is good and all, but if we can't stop the run, I mean, they're going to run the ball down your throat all the time. So, all the time we have to figure out how we're going to stop them, how we're going to run the ball, and then we're going to take them down. So, I mean, it's our job as a front four to go in there and stop the run. And we're going to make them one-dimensional as we go out there. So, I mean, as we get out there every time, every mindset we go out there, it means we're going to get them. We're not going to allow them to get any yards, allow them to get going. We're going to stop them. We're going to make them throw the ball.
When JT was up here, I asked him about kind of compare and contrast him and Jack. It's personalities. What's your take on that? How different are they as just personalities?
I definitely think Jack is more outgoing. I mean, the guy, he's like the light that shines around. I mean, everybody grows around him and everybody loves him. He's an outgoing guy that'll come to you, shake your hand any time of day. And then JT's more of the glue guy. I mean, a lot of guys gravitate to him. I mean, he just has a bright smile on him all the time. He's just a great guy that people like to be around. And they're two good people, so it's hard to tell.
And Ty, I do have one more question for you. Tony Erdman, Buckeye Hub.
You guys obviously have faced tempo. You did it last week. What's the key for you as a defensive lineman facing tempo?
Yeah, I mean, we've been going through it all week in the past 2 weeks is just getting set. I mean, that's the first thing you do. If you're not set, I mean, it makes it hard to do your job. So us being able to get on the ball, get set before they're lined up and snap the ball is one of the more important things. So when we're set, we're able to do our jobs at the efficiency before they can do theirs.
How difficult is that?
It can be difficult at times. You got to look to the sideline first. You got to get the call. I mean, the call has to be set down first. So it can be difficult at times, but that's definitely what we've been working on the past few weeks, is just get a call early, get set, so we can go and play faster.
Is there ever a time where you've chased a play to one side of the field, and now it's lined up, they're going to be heading to the other side, so you've got to you're just running sideline to sideline just to get one?
Yeah, I mean, that happened a lot last game. It's hard. It's definitely tough. I mean, that's what we work on in practice, just we move as fast as we can. We're simulating these things so we can get into the game. It's a lot easier. So we're moving around side to side, running around, doing extra conditioning just for moments like this. Yeah.
Ty, thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Ty.
Alrighty, folks, that'll conclude today's press conference. We will meet back here a little before 4 in the Biggs lobby for a little 15 to 19-minute photo and video opportunity on the field capturing the Buckeyes. We will then come back tomorrow morning, same time, 11:30, to meet with Coach Kelly. And we have scheduled Will Howard, Jeremiah Smith, Emeka Abuka, and Quinshawn Judkins.